The highly anticipated local government elections took place last week and saw the ANC and DA go toe-to-toe to win over the city of Johannesburg. We spoke to the public to get their views on the final results.
This past weekend clearly showed that a lot of people didn't come out to vote, judging by the IEC results, especially in Johannesburg. We are here as Joburg today in Braamfontein trying to find out if people are happy about the Joburg results.
I saw something that we lost there was about 600 votes in it, so I'm also quite disappointed that I heard this year a lot of people didn't vote that were registered. That was disappointing, but the actual results are pretty good because compared to every year since 1994, it's been completely different, and there's been so much pressure on the ruling party, which I think is good. Regardless of who you're backing, it's always good to have pressure on the leading party.
Yeah, no, I'm happy because what happened is that it's healthy competition for the ANC. So I think now they wanna wake up and actually do something because ETA is actually stronger than what people thought. So right now, I think, it's a rude awakening for ANC.
Yes, I'm satisfied with it, but it was just a bit baffling for me because at some stage DA was leading, and then soon after ANC was leading by 11%. So, but they say the election was free and fair, so I guess it was free and fair.
Because most of the youth didn't vote, and they were supposed to vote. The results were not. They were not making me happy, because ANC was supposed to be in a higher. It was supposed to get high points, so they didn't. So
to tell the truth, I'm not, because first of all, there's no legitimate or a consistent party that's gonna rule, but we've got coalitions that's going to happen on all of those things. So we don't know whether ANC will collide with DA or DA will collide with EFF. So it's a bit of a mixed up situation, and they have fights within themselves, hey. So I'm not happy with that. But anyway, whenever the collision happens, I just hope that it happens for the good. And then the two parties that collide, they understand each other and understand the needs. Like their ideologies and principles are not far apart, but they link in a certain way. In that manner, they can compromise and work together to make Johannesburg a better place.
Marisa spoke to Gabriella McKay, a political analyst, to gain a better understanding of a possible coalition and the effects it will have on the city itself.
It is now a reality. Coalition government is the future for the city of Johannesburg. What do you think are the possible scenarios?
What we're going to see happening is we're likely to see a DA-EFF coalition government, simply because the EFF has, said they're definitely not going into coalition with the ANC. So we're going to see two parties that are on paper fundamentally opposed actually entering into coalition, and that's going to be really interesting.
What do you think will the common ground be? How will they find common ground?
I think at this point, the common ground for those two parties is actually the dislike of the ANC and the dislike of how the ANC has run the country by and large, and then certain metropolitans in particular. So I think that's definitely going to be the one place that they do have in common. But other than that, the other policies are sort of vastly different.
What kind of demands do you think will the EFF make in return for their support?
As far as possible, as much as you can do at a local level, it would very much be starting to see transformation, sort of more free education for the universities so free education for students at universities based in Johannesburg, probably more integrated housing, more free services going to people. That would probably be the sort of thing they try to push through, because those are very much in line with the national policies they're trying to push through. And again, they would probably argue as well that Johannesburg is the richest city in the country, that we probably have the money to afford these things, without realizing you need to then focus on where that money actually comes from. You need to focus on job creation and other things. I think they're going to look to make good on the promises to their constituents more than anything else, and they'd probably almost halt government to ensure that those get put through, rather than making sure that the biggest service delivery employment concerns are pushed through.
Now, especially the ANC and the DA did a lot to put forward their mayoral candidates during the campaigns. How important do you think will it be for any party to have the mayor in the mayor's office in this coalition formation?
In other areas, it probably would be. With other parties, it probably would be. But the EFF don't actually have mayoral candidates. They never put up mayoral candidates. So I don't think they view it as very important. I think what they view as more important is having written guarantees that their policies are actually going to be enacted. So I think very much Herman Mashaba is somebody who's very unlikely to want to step aside. He definitely wants to be mayor of Johannesburg. Parks Tau would probably argue that he's done the job before he's a proven mayor, so he should remain the candidate, remain mayor. So I think very much they would probably offer maybe sort of a deputy position to a high up EFF member and then offer them written guarantees that they would pay attention to certain policy aspects that the EFF want to push through. However, again, with the DA and the EFF, those are so fundamentally opposed, we may enter a situation in which you deadlock local government.
So how sustainable do you think is any such coalition government?
We might actually find that an EFF becomes sort of more pragmatic as they realize the difficulties of having to deal with practical running of a local government. It's not the same as national government where you get to make proclamations and then you don't have to deliver on much else. In the situation, if you have to keep water running, you actually have to practically do it. And I think they might become more pragmatic on this and realize that the making proclamations isn't going to help them in the situation. So we might actually see it work, but the logical answer says in about 5-6 months we may have massive problems.
So what do you think will the impact be of a coalition government on the governance of the city of Johannesburg?
It has the potential for us to have more efficient government. So more, I know the DA pride themselves on their ability to efficiently run municipalities. So you might see elements of that start to come through and things being done efficiently, but then at the same time you may see that stop and start if they do go into a coalition with the EFF, who won't sort of allow for the approval to do anything until their conditions have been met. So you might see more effective sort of service delivery, but also possibly slower service delivery.